Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
The bold and the beautiful spoilers allude that Daphne Rose's hot family may come to city and shake up the romantic scene in LA. A new character is in the workshop, so let's talk about who it could be and how he might fit on oil. Fall exercise spoilers preliminarily refocused to multiple youngish characters joining the show. Deke Sharp formerly arrived, but there should be at least one or two other additions to the youngish set soon. Other B&B spoilers say someone from Daphne's history could show up in Los Angeles and affect several characters in the process. It's possible Daphne has a partner who'll track her down, but what if it's a relative rather? This might be a good time to construct a hot family for Daphne, so let's consider how B&B might use him if that happens. However, that could open the door for Deke to fall for someone differently. If Deke and Remy Price resolve up, however, perhaps he could be Deke's coming love interest, if Daphne has a family who's into guys. Of course, the show could make Daphne's family bisexual and have him be a possible provisory love interest for Electra Forrester, too. Electra is trying to have faith that her relationship with Will Spencer can still work, but it's going to be tougher than she realizes now that Luna Nozawa is pregnant with his baby. Considering the bond Electra and Deke have formerly formed, it'd make a juicy love triangle if they were both interested in the same guy. However, he might be the face from her history who pops up down the road, if Paris has a handsome family who could make all this be. Remy could also go off the rails again and make Paris' family his new target, so that'd be another interesting story angle to pursue. No matter how it all plays out, the bold and the beautiful spoilers point to Paris reconnecting with someone from her history. In the high-stakes, perpetually turning world of daytime television, certain characters become more than just roles, they become institutions. They are the bedrock upon which decades of storylines are built, the familiar faces viewers invite into their homes day after day, year after year. For over a decade and a half, Jacqueline MacInnes has been one such institution. Her portrayal of Steffy Forrester on CBS's The Bold and the Beautiful has been a masterclass in evolving a character from a petulant heiress into a powerful, complex, and resilient matriarch. Steffy is not just a character, she is a Forrester in a way that arguably rivals even her father, Ridge, and her grandfather, Eric. She is the spine of the show. Which is why the mere hypothetical of her departure would send seismic shocks through the world of Genoa City, Los Angeles, and the entire soap opera landscape. Imagine the headline, Jacqueline MacInnes has decided to leave The Bold and the Beautiful in December. The announcement, landing just before the holidays, would not be a simple casting update. It would be a narrative earthquake, a corporate crisis, and a profound moment of transition, all rolled into one. This is the story of that decision, the baptism into a new chapter for the actress, the encouraging words from supporters, and the angry threats from a genre terrified of losing another icon. Part 1, Baptism begins, the choice to walk away. For any actor, leaving a long-running, successful role is akin to a baptism, a ritualistic immersion into the unknown, a cleansing of one identity to make way for another. It is an act of both profound courage and terrifying risk. For Jacqueline MacInnes the decision would not be made lightly. It would be the culmination of a long, internal journey. Steffy Forrester was a gift and a crucible. Wood took over the role in 2008 and, over the next 15-plus years, she lived Steffy's life with an intensity few other actors on the canvas could match. She navigated Steffy's tumultuous romances with Liam Spencer and Hope Logan, a saga of betrayal and hope that became the show's central axis. She portrayed the raw pain of addiction, the fierce protectiveness of motherhood, the cutthroat ambition of running a global fashion empire, and the vulnerability of facing a terminal illness. She earned 5 Daytime Emmy Awards for her efforts, a testament to her peerless ability to mine emotional truth from even the most outlandish of plots. But such an immersion comes at a cost. The schedule of a daytime drama is grueling, a relentless treadmill of memorizing dozens of pages of dialogue daily, often for multiple episodes filmed simultaneously. It is a life of routine, of being tethered to Los Angeles, of having one's public identity forever fused with a fictional persona. For a mother of young children, as Wood is, the physical and emotional toll would be immense. The decision to leave, therefore, would be a baptism into reclaiming autonomy. It would be a conscious choice to step out of Steffi's formidable shadow and step back into the full spectrum of who Jacqueline MacInnes is. This new chapter could mean many things: pursuing roles in primetime television or feature films that a daytime schedule prohibits, dedicating more time to her family and personal life, exploring passions behind the camera, perhaps in directing, an avenue several of her daytime colleagues have successfully pursued. This baptism is not a rejection of the past but a sanctification of the future. It is the acknowledgement that an artist, no matter how beloved their creation, must eventually evolve or risk stagnation. The water she would be stepping into is cold and uncharted, but it is also purifying. It is the water of possibility, of saying, what else am I capable of, after having already proven herself a master of her craft. Leaving Steffi would be the ultimate act of faith in herself, not just as a steward of a legacy character, but as a creative force in her own right. Part 2, Encouraging Words, a Chorus of Support and Gratitude. The announcement of her departure would inevitably be met with an outpouring of support, a chorus of encouraging words from colleagues, fans, and industry insiders who recognize the magnitude of her contribution and the courage of her choice. From within the Forrester mansion, the most poignant reactions would come from her on-screen family. John Finn McCook, Torsten K., would likely release a statement praising her as the heart and soul of the show. Having built the Ridge-Steffi dynamic into one of daytime's most authentic father-daughter relationships, his words would carry the weight of genuine personal loss. He might speak of her professionalism, her talent, and the void her absence would create, both on set and on screen. Her longtime scene partners would be equally effusive. Scott Clifton, Liam Spencer, whose character's destiny has been inextricably linked with Steffi's for over a decade, would undoubtedly speak to her generosity as an actor and the incredible history they built together. Annika Noel, Hope Logan, her perennial rival, would likely highlight the power of their scenes and the unique alchemy that made the Steffi-Hope feud so compelling. The encouragement from her colleagues would not be mere Hollywood platitudes, it would be the genuine lament of a work family losing its cornerstone, coupled with a deep respect for her decision to grow. From the fans. The fan reaction would be a complex tapestry of heartbreak and well-wishes. Social media would light up with tributes under hashtags like #ThankYouJacqueline and #SteffiForever. Longtime viewers would post montages of Steffi's most iconic moments, her confrontations with Sheila, her wedding to Liam, her raw emotional breakdowns, her triumphant returns to Forrester Creations. They would share personal stories of how Steffi's strength helped them through their own difficult times. This segment of the fandom would understand that an actor is not a character, and that Wood's right to a fulfilling career and life supersedes their desire for continuous storytelling. Their encouraging words would be a testament to the bond formed over 15 years. They would say, "We'll miss you terribly, but we are so excited to see what you do next." They would follow her career with loyalty, eager to see the next incarnation of her talent. This supportive faction would represent the best of fandom, passionate but respectful, understanding that the art they love is created by real people with real lives. From the industry. Beyond the bubble of Bold and the Beautiful, the industry would take note. Daytime talk shows would dedicate segments to her career. Entertainment journalists would pen think pieces analyzing her impact on the genre, crediting her with bringing a new, gritty realism to the soap heroine. Casting directors who may have previously seen her only as Steffi Forrester would suddenly see a multi-Emmy award-winning actress now available for a wider range of projects. The encouragement here would be professional and opportunistic. It would be the sound of new doors creaking open. Her agents would be flooded with calls, not with offers for Steffi, but for Jacqueline. This external validation, while different from the personal support of her colleagues, would be a powerful form of encouragement, confirming that her baptism into a new career phase was not a leap into the void, but a step onto a broader stage. Part 3, Angry Threats, the Backlash of Entitlement and Fear. However, no seismic shift occurs without tremors of resistance. Alongside the encouraging words would come a darker, more volatile undercurrent, the angry threats. These would not be the reasoned disappointments of saddened fans, but the visceral, often toxic reactions born from a sense of entitlement and a deep-seated fear about the future of the genre. The toxic fandom. A segment of the audience, particularly those most invested in the steam, Steffi and Liam, or Shin, Steffi and Finn, pairings, would react not with sadness, but with rage. Social media, the megaphone for modern outrage, would become a sewer of vitriol. Wood's accounts would be bombarded with accusations of betrayal and selfishness. How dare she leave after everything the show has given her, they would cry, ignoring the 15 years of work she has given in return. She's destroying the show just for her own ego, others would claim, as if an actor's career should be one of endless self-sacrifice. Without Steffi, the show is dead. I'm never watching again. This classic threat, the nuclear option of the angry fan, would be deployed thousands of times. Some would even resort to personal attacks, criticizing her decision as a mother or questioning her loyalty. This faction operates under the delusion that they own the actors and the characters they portray. Their threats to stop watching are a form of emotional blackmail, an attempt to punish the actress for daring to prioritize her own journey. They see her not as a human being making a career choice, but as a commodity failing to perform its function. The network's quiet panic. The angry threats would not be confined to Twitter rants. Behind the scenes, in the plush offices of CBS and Bell Philip Television, the reaction would be one of controlled panic. While publicly they would release a gracious statement wishing Wood well, privately, the mood would be fraught. The departure of a star of her magnitude is not just a creative problem, it is a multimillion-dollar business problem. Steffi Forrester is a tentpole character. Her presence drives story, fuels the central love triangle, and maintains a significant portion of the show's demographic. Her exit would force a complete narrative overhaul, a risky endeavor for a show that has relied on certain core dynamics for over a decade. The network's threat would be unspoken but palpable, the threat of declining ratings, of advertiser nervousness, of the show becoming vulnerable in a television landscape that has already seen the demise of so many of its peers. Their anxiety would manifest in two ways. First, there would be a monumental effort to persuade her to stay, lucrative new contracts, promises of a reduced workload, perhaps even a producer credit. The second, more cynical path, would be the immediate development of a contingency plan. This is where the threat to the character herself would emerge. Would the writers kill Steffi off? In the world of soaps, where back-from-the-dead resurrections are common, a permanent death is the ultimate threat to both the character and the audience. It is a narrative door slammed shut, a statement that there is no going back. Such a move would be a direct response to the threat of the actress's departure, a way to create finality and force the show to move on, but it would also be a brutal and permanent severance of the Steffi Forrester legacy. The genre's existential dread. On a macro level, Wood's departure would trigger a wave of existential dread within the daytime community itself. Soap operas are a genre fighting for survival. Each time a pillar falls, whether it's the cancellation of a show or the exit of a legacy star, it fuels the narrative that the entire form is in irreversible decline. The angry threat here is not shouted on the internet, but whispered in industry circles. If Bold and the Beautiful can't hold on to Jacqueline MacInnes Wood, what hope does any show have? Her exit would be seen as a bellwether. It would embolden other actors to consider their own exits, to wonder if the security of a daytime contract is worth the creative limitations. It would make networks even more hesitant to invest in the genre. The threat is to the ecosystem itself, a fear that the center cannot hold, and that the departure of one queen could trigger a domino effect that further destabilizes an already fragile kingdom. Conclusion, the aftermath and the dawn. December would arrive, and with it, Steffi Forrester's final episodes. They would be event television, written with the gravitas the moment deserved. Perhaps Steffi would be given a happy ending, leaving for a new life in Europe with Finn and the children, a peaceful conclusion far from the chaos of Los Angeles. Or perhaps, in true soap fashion, she would die in a tragic accident, leaving a hole in the canvas that could never truly be filled, a permanent monument to the actress who brought her to life. As the final scene aired, and Steffi Forrester vanished from the screen, the baptism would be complete. Jacqueline MacInnes would have been submerged in the waters of change and emerged, reborn, on the other side. The encouraging words would slowly begin to outweigh the angry threats, as they always do in the light of time and reason. The show, as it always must, would go on. New characters would be introduced, old ones would be elevated, and the writers would scramble to forge a new identity. But nothing would be the same. The landscape of the bold and the beautiful would be permanently altered. The departure of a figure as central as would prove that even in a world of fantasy and forever story, endings are real, and beginnings are necessary. It would be a stark reminder that the actors are the temporary vessels for the timeless characters we love, and that their own human journeys, their baptisms, their triumphs, their need for growth, are the most compelling story of all. The encouraging words celebrate the artist, the angry threats mourn the character, but the baptism itself is a quiet, personal victory, the first step on a new, uncharted road.